Hey everyone, I've had one or two subscribers make the suggestion to make more discussion style videos, which is great, and it's a cool idea because I do want to make more of the tutorials and things like that. Just life's been quite busy, and it's harder to sit down and put all that stuff together. And there's a lot of studying that happens with a lot of this stuff. But that does seem like a great thing to do, kind of like an in-between style of content for people who are interested. I threw a video up yesterday, and some people actually had a little bit of discussion, which is cool. I talked about Westlife, and just having to notice that a couple of the members I'm seeing in some modern footage of certain performances where the mouths are moving, miming, and the audio, just something about it's not seeming like it's measuring up here. And then there was a footage of that TV performance, and just noticing that stuff and talking about it. So I'm doing this on the fly. It's really not scripted at all. Since Westlife has been kind of... I think that Westlife has been my last two videos. And I do want to get into more Westlife videos if I can. I have a lot of respect for Westlife. Something that's interesting is that I'm from Canada, and they're not like super famous here. Like I'm sure some people know them, but they're not super famous. Like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, they were the bands, and then some who were a little bit more in tune of the boy band stuff up from that time, they might know 98 Degrees as well, but some of these other bands they're not as familiar with. I do know Five did make some impact here, and this whole thing is interesting to me because, yes, I discovered Backstreet Boys in the late 90s, but we have to remember I was this tiny little kid. Like, I was in kindergarten. So my consciousness of the world around me was not as aware as someone who might have been a little older. There's three boy bands that I remember from the late 90s, and a couple of them I didn't even know their names until I looked them up later. I had the VHS tape from 1999 of Inspector Gadget, and at the end of the VHS tape, you had Youngstown singing "I'll Be Your Everything," and with a music video, and they had the hats eventually. And then there was Plus One. I saw written on my heart on the TV, and I'm like, oh man, that's a boy band. That's cool. And it's funny because as a little boy, the idea of a boy band, if we're honest, boy bands are a lot more marketed towards young women. But when you're a kid, you see boy bands, it's these young guys. They seem to be tight friends, tight enough that they have like synchronized vocals and dancing. That these guys must be some super tight pals. And it's almost like their club, and like as a little boy, that's cool. Like they got a club together, almost like almost think about like a cool handshake that you have with your boys, but they sing and dance. That's cool. So, as a little boy, at least for me, boy bands were cool. It's like these, those are the guy's pals, and he's singing a song with them, and they learn to harmonize together. How cool is that? But where I was going with this is like Westlife here in Canada, they're not like super popular as far as I understand it. However, I do know they are very popular. They got a lot of notoriety. They got a lot of popularity. They got a lot of support on the other side of the world. And there's a lot of fans that are very loyal to them, and that's something that I find. That's something that I observe, as I do think that fans on the other side of the world, they seem to be a little more loyal than Canada and the U.S. I just sort of feel like that. I don't know that in great detail, but it's just something that I find that people from the other side of the world, they seem to be more loyal. Like, for example, a lot of these boy bands, maybe they've lost a bit of the popularity, but in places like Asia, they still love them like they were the it thing yesterday, and that's really cool for them. And I'm happy that at least in some parts of the world, it's still widely accepted like that. But with that being said, Westlife, right? They hit it big in the late '90s, and their first album and their first set of singles really made its mark, and they became a boy band that really made a name for themselves. And there was a lot of boy bands out at the time, and not all of them made it far. Sometimes just one album. And but Westlife, they didn't have just one album; they had a few. And something I really think is cool is that Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and 98 Degrees, they all cut it off around the same time. Like, NSYNC went on a hiatus that never ended in 2002. Backstreet Boys went on a hiatus. They did come back eventually, but they did go on a long break where people thought that they were over. And then 98 Degrees also went on a break around that time. And this kind of killed, at least to some type of degree, this killed the boy band era. And it's something that I'm really curious about. What if they never left? Would it have continued on? Would the boy band be able to kind of adapt into the mid 2000s? It's something I wonder, because pop rock and pop punk and emo, they really became this big genre in the 2000s, and it's like the sound priority, let's call it, changed, because there's still pop music, but the sound priority, let's call it, changed. So I wonder what would have happened. I know Backstreet Boys came in, and I think they made the absolute right move. They did a pop rock album, and for guys that took a break, like they did all right. Like, I remember Incomplete being a decent hit. Like, people knew it. Like, kids in my class, they knew it and they're humming it. I remember that. But Westlife, okay, so they stuck through it, and they just continued on. Now I wonder how much of that is the fans from the other side of the world being loyal like that if they got more to put out, they will listen and they'll support it. I wonder what would have happened if they... I hear, because I listened to the Nicky Byrne podcast, and they were trying to break into the States, but they kind of got to that mission, let's call it, a little bit too late, because apparently a lot of radio stations were like, another boy band. If I'm not mistaken, I think they said their song World of Our Own did gain a little traction here in this side of the world. Actually, that's the only Westlife song I hear on some kind of radio. Is there's a store in Canada called Dollarama. It's a dollar store, and I hear that song at the Dollarama. We got in the world of our own. Na, 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 na. It's like, Westlife, good for them. Actually, no. I heard another Westlife song. It was a newer song. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Was it the Starlight? Na, 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 na. I'm trying to remember the lyrics. I can't remember. It was one of the newer ones. It played at Walmart. I'm like, Westlife again, hey. Yeah, so I don't really hear Westlife much on the radio, but they stuck through it, and I will say, I do think their sound evolution is really good. It's very attentive, staying true to the band, and so even some of their older stuff, there's a classicness to it where even the sound itself, it's not stuck in a time too much. Now, their first album, absolutely, some of the songs sound super 90s, like super 90s, late 90s, 2K pop era, let's call it. Like a song I'm thinking of is which is a song I actually like a lot. The baby, baby, I'm here for you. Don't leave me lonely, 'cause I need you. Such a catchy song. It's super boy band and super 90s. Yeah, okay, so you have some songs that, like, yeah, it's a little stuck in time. But songs like If I Let You Go, yeah, if you listen to it, it's like, that sounds like a 90s song, but there is a bit of a timelessness to it where it's fine, you know what I mean? Like, there's just some songs that are so gimmickily, probably not a word, gimmickily, stuck in a time, you know? Like, that song has the sound of a time, but it's still timeless enough and classic. Even songs like "Fool Again," like that's one of my critiques of NSYNC a little bit. Is I do think they knew this is the pop explosion right now, and we're capturing it, and we're letting you know, and we're gonna capture it and be loud about it. NSYNC, they got a song called "Pop," right? And it's not even really a negative thing, but as far as like a timelessness factor, other boy bands had a little bit more of capturing a sound that I think is a little more timeless and an easier listen for other generations, let's say. And Westlife, I think, has that. And they also kind of have like a slight theatricness to them, which I find kind of interesting. Like, there's like a classic, the classic vocalist to them, a little bit. They do a lot of covers, which is kind of like, there's a performance-ness to it. It's like, I'm going to sing you songs you know, and we're going to try to do it in a way that you'll love. There's this vibe to them when it comes to that. Me personally, I don't really pay attention to their covers. I'm more interested in like the original stuff. But like, I can think of most of their singles. They just have this classic timelessness to it. That first one, the I wanna know, whoever told you I was letting go. La da da da, wanna let it go, girl, they're lying. And da da da, ding ding ding, la da 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 da. Westlife, something they have is they got great verses. I don't know, like whoever was working with them doing the songs, the verses are so memorable and they sway in and out in such a way that is so soothing. Trying to think like. Baby, I know the story. I've seen the picture. It's written all over your face. Tell me, la da. It's just like, oh man, there's something that just sways and it's just so smooth. Day after day, time passes away, and I just can't get you off my mind. It's just, there's something that just sings with the verses they have. And again, I think they captured a sound that was, of course, very 90s boy band, but there was something a little unique about it. And that's why I think, like, they earned their little spot for themselves. And I respect that. I do respect that. They did follow a mold, but different enough where there was something different about them. There's something different about them. And I think to someone who's half musically knowledgeable, that they could easily pick up that that's Westlife and not Backstreet Boys. And that they have enough of a sound where it's like, okay, Now I did talk about like in that last video about the vocalists. I did talk about Nikki and Kian. They were observably weaker vocalists, and that's not I'm not saying that to be mean. And they probably would have been used a little more if if there was a type of appeal to the engineers and whoever was producing for them. Clearly, the other fellas had a little bit more of a lead presence. But I will say I do like their voices though. Like they brought to the table a vocal diversity that does make things interesting. Like Kian has a bit of a lower voice, but there's kind of like a husk to it, and then Nikki has this kind of high. Even he has like, maybe husk is not the wrong word, but it's almost like this faded vocal dynamic to him, which creates an interesting sound. So like I actually really like their voices, and it creates an interesting diversity for the band. And when they do get leads, it's cool to hear, absolutely for sure. And I really respect their longevity and their dedication to keep putting stuff out. I know they broke up for a little season there, but you gotta respect a band who will also give back in that sense of just sticking around. And God bless them. Like, if they do want to take breaks because they're in a different place in life, they can do that. And when they do come back, I'm sure us fans appreciate it. I appreciate them, and I appreciate whatever they put out. I'm listening. I'm paying attention to them. I'm not someone who's like heavy listening to every or watching them in great detail, but like I am paying attention to them because I want to hear more from them. I like their music, and I think it's cool, even in modern day, the sound they put out. I think that's it's a very balanced sound, and I think they're doing a good job at doing that. So, good job to the people working with them. Yeah, like their sound is a sound that really intrigues me, and I'll even say like Backstreet Boys is my guys, but the Westlife sound, and like as far as the modern work, there's a little bit of more of an intrigue for that sound. That there's a little bit more of a safety with that sound, but still being modern. But I am very interested in hearing what Backstreet Boys brings out next. I wasn't the biggest fan of their DNA album. It's okay. My favorite of their albums in like the last few years is the Christmas one. And a lot of people kind of put the Christmas albums in a different category and stuff like that. But that's my favorite of their last few. Anyway, I just came to talk about Westlife a little bit and kind of talk about my appreciation for them, and that I do like them and just appreciate them. Shane was such a great lead vocalist. The world needed to hear that guy sing, and I'm excited for whatever they bring, whatever more they bring. I hope they put out more music and all that. And I'm really excited to hear more of the Nicky Byrne podcast. I really enjoy that podcast when he has the musical guests. Some of the other guests, I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll skip this one out. But yeah, good stuff. Yeah, peace and love and ice cream cake. God bless.